Welcome back to AM Northwest. Our next guests have mastered the art of making homemade bread in less time than it takes to drive to the bakery. Their latest cookbook is here just in time for holiday baking. We welcome back the authors of Holiday and Celebration Bread in 5 minutes a Day, Jeff Hertzberg and Zoe Francois. Good to see you guys again.
Thank you.
It's like cold home week. I love you guys when it comes here.
So
you guys come here so often. Okay, let's talk about this new cookbook with the focus.
Yeah, this is, well, as the title suggests,
Right.
It's all about holidays and celebrations, and it came about because I'm a pastry chef and I love to do all of the sweet stuff. And so Jeff and I have always had a chapter in our books about sweets and sort of dessert end of breads. But this time we wanted a whole book dedicated to all of those celebrations and holidays from around the world.
Right.
So,
oh, very cool.
Yeah,
and
from
Jeff,
all over.
You two are not a couple.
We're not.
Making that clear.
Old friends.
Yeah, well, and how is it that you connected, though? Because you came up with a recipe, right?
So just the plain bread, because I'll put onions and things on bread, and that's lunch for me. But she's a pastry chef, and we met taking care of our respective kids in a music class. And she said, I'll make a long story short, she said, I'd write a book with you, but only if there can be a chapter with, otherwise no. If it's not sweets for one chapter, I'm out.
Oh.
I said, yes, and so now we've got one in the whole book.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's
All right,
fun.
so tell me what we're going to make then.
We are going to make this pumpkin Nutella bread.
This is it right here?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it. So first we're going to make the pumpkin pie dough.
Okay.
And Jeff is going to
this is the non-pastry chef part. So
Okay, gotcha.
our usual, just dump the water and the yeast and some pumpkin pie spice. That's not usual in plain breads. Salt, which you can add, believe it or not, right with it. And this doesn't have to be dissolved. This is a little bit of oil, a little bit of honey, and this must be vanilla.
There you go.
And we're not terribly precise, and we kind of let it go a bit.
And this is your bread.
The basic method.
Right.
Right, you could be making white bread, you could be making rye, but this is...
it's your bread bucket is what I was trying to say.
It's a bread bucket,
right.
yeah.
Because
if
you leave it
mix
in for a while, right?
Yep, we leave it for up to 2 weeks in the fridge. And you don't have to get that to dissolve or anything. You just kind of, our method is just relax about all this.
Yeah.
And if you can get it all to get together,
And
roughly, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And
So
the tool he's using is a Danish dough whisk,
Yep.
which
Oh,
we love.
And so once you mix that up, how long, you mentioned that, do you put it in the fridge covered?
You cover it loosely. You
Okay.
allow some gas to escape because it's going to create that.
Right.
And so what you end up with is a very wet dough. I'm not going to mix it completely.
Right.
It doesn't look like you can make bread out of this, but Zoe's going to show you what it looks like after 2 hours on the counter and then into the fridge.
Okay. Zoe.
So we make it in this big bucket because we're actually making enough for about 4 loaves of bread all at one time. And so Jeff, if he just kept stirring, it turns into this sort of gloppy mess. But then when it sits for 2 hours, you can see it develops all that nice stretch and gluten.
Yeah.
So we usually will just pull a piece out as we want it. I usually form it into a ball just to make it nice and smooth.
Right.
And then we just rolled out that piece of dough right onto the counter. A little bit of flour under there just so it won't stick.
Sure.
Exactly. And then we're just going to layer this up with some Nutella.
Oh, my goodness.
Really, who doesn't love that?
Because I'm looking at this loaf here, and it is beautiful.
It's
it's just beautiful.
It's beautiful. It smells great. It tastes
it
great.
does.
So we're just going to spread that on nice and thin. And you can do this with raspberry jam. You can do this with all kinds of things. It doesn't even have to be sweet.
Right.
Jeff had mentioned some onions. You could do caramelized onions. Maybe not with the pumpkin dough, but you do.
I like the idea of onions, though, in the bread. I do.
Yeah, you can go savory with this.
Sure.
So we're just going to get it spread out as well as we can there. And then we're going to roll this up nice and tight.
Okay.
Into a log. And then we're going to take this tool. This is called a bench knife, but you could use a regular knife. And we're just going to cut that right down the center in half. And it's going to reveal all of that nice Nutella.
When you start a new recipe, how much do you try it out? How often,
Well, it depends on the recipe.
Oh, wow,
so
that looks great,
Yeah, so
Zoe.
we're just going to turn the Nutella side up.
Okay.
And then we're just going to twist it, and it's going to get to this really lovely sort of braided.
Pretty,
but it's so simple. And then we're just going to twist it around like this and then plop it into, and that's a technical term. Plop it right into the loaf pan, and that's it. So we're going to let that rest. brush it with a little bit of egg wash, put it in the oven, and then we have
Then it looks like this?
Yeah.
That is incredible.
So simple, and all of the recipes in the book are that simple. And the one great thing about this book, I mean, all of our books are great, but this one, we got lots more pictures. So we have.
Yes, I noticed that this time around, yeah.
And I'm such a visual learner.
Right,
so
that's how I have to do
I
too.
feel like people will really dive into it if they have those visual cues.
Now tell me about some of the other pieces, the other baked goods you brought here. So this is?
That is a chocolate chestnut bread. And so that one we just folded some chestnuts and chocolate into.
Right, okay.
And this one is a babka. And again, we rolled it exactly like this, but instead of cutting it down the center, we just wrapped it and put it into a nice bundt pan.
Wow.
And then these are basically a play on cinnamon rolls. So they're just nice and twisty and braided.
They're so pretty.
So pretty.
Okay, and then?
This one is our Amish milk bread. So this is just like a beautiful sandwich loaf.
Oh, wow.
Just super simple.
And this one?
That's a raspberry.
May I try that?
Yes,
May I try
of
that?
course, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can just pull something?
You can pull, or there's
Well,
a knife there, whichever.
Oh, I'll pull it.
Yeah.
I'll pull it. All right, we're gonna put the recipe for this on our website at k2.com, and the book again is titled Holiday and Celebration Bread in 5 Minutes a Day. Zoe Francois and Jeff Hertzberg, thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.